Have you ever been 100% sure something happened, only to later find out it didn't? Maybe you vividly remember a childhood vacation that your parents swear never happened. Or you recall a conversation word for word, but the other person says it never occurred. Here's the terrifying part. Your memory might not be lying to you. It might just be wrong. Not because of trauma, not because of age, because that's how the brain works. Today, we're diving into one of the strangest, most fascinating, and honestly unsettling aspects of being human. How your brain can create vivid, detailed, completely believable memories that never happened at all. This isn't science fiction, it's neuroscience. A false memory is a recollection that feels real but is actually fabricated, partially or entirely, by your brain. These memories aren't lies. They're not made up on purpose. They feel just as real as your actual experiences, and sometimes they're indistinguishable from the truth, even to you. One of the most famous early studies on this came from Elizabeth Loftus, a cognitive psychologist who's arguably the world's leading expert on false memories. In one experiment, she showed participants a car crash and asked them how fast the cars were going when they hit each other. Other participants were asked the same question, but the verb was changed to smashed. Guess what happened? People who heard smashed consistently gave higher speed estimates, and many remembered seeing broken glass that wasn't there. One word changed the memory. So how does this happen? How does the brain rewrite its own history? To understand this, you need to know. Memory is not a recording device. It's not a video camera. It's more like a Wikipedia page, editable, collaborative, and dangerously malleable. Every time you recall a memory, your brain rebuilds it, not retrieves it. And in the rebuilding process, it can accidentally or subtly alter details. Factors that influence false memory formation: suggestion, as in Loftus's experiments; repetition; emotion; social influence; imagination inflation. The more you imagine something, the more likely you are to believe it happened. MRI studies show that the brain activity for false memories and real ones can be strikingly similar. The hippocampus, which stores memory, lights up either way. It feels the same. And that's what makes false memories so dangerous. This isn't just about quirky brain bugs. False memories have serious consequences. Let's take the criminal justice system. There are dozens of documented cases of wrongful convictions based on eyewitness testimony. Testimony that the witnesses believed was true. One high-profile example is that of Ronald Cotton, who was falsely identified by a victim and spent over a decade in prison. DNA evidence later proved he was innocent. The victim wasn't lying. She truly believed he was the one. Her brain had rewritten the memory. Or consider the satanic panic of the 1980s and 90s, when therapists, often unintentionally, helped implant false memories of abuse in patients using suggestive questioning and hypnosis. It ruined lives. And it was based on memories that never happened. Have you ever heard of the Mandela Effect? It's when large groups of people share the same false memory. For example, you probably remember the Monopoly man, right? Top hat, cane, fancy suit, and a monocle? Well, here's the twist. He never had a monocle. Seriously. Go check the box. Our brains just filled in that detail, probably because we associate wealth and old-timey gentlemen with monocles. You probably remember the most iconic line in Star Wars, "Luke, I am your father." But here's the twist again. That line was never actually said. What Darth Vader really says is, "No, I am your father." But our brains collectively rewrote it. Clearer, more direct, more dramatic. It feels right, so we remember it that way. This isn't just a misquote. It's a window into how memory fills in gaps with what makes sense to us. These aren't just trivia quirks. They show how memory is influenced by expectation, culture, and even other people's memories. Shared false beliefs form in communities, on the internet, and even in families. And when enough people believe something, it reinforces the illusion, making the false memory feel more real. False memories aren't just personal. they show up in collective memory too. For instance, in 1915, during the First World War, news across Britain reported that Russian troops had been seen moving through the UK, complete with snow on their boots, also known as the Russian snow on British boots. This case is a classic example of military disinformation and mass hysteria during wartime, when people believed completely false news. The reports were entirely false, yet believed by millions. Or take the Boston Massacre in 1770, that is often remembered as an event where British soldiers fired into a peaceful crowd of innocent civilians without cause, killing several people. This version became a powerful symbol of British cruelty and justified revolutionary sentiments among the colonists. The real situation, more complex and nuanced. The crowd was far from peaceful. On that evening, the British soldiers were confronted by an aggressive mob throwing stones, snowballs, clubs, and shouting insults. Some soldiers were injured and under extreme pressure. The firing happened after orders were given. The soldiers initially tried to hold their ground and avoid escalation, but eventually someone fired a shot and others followed. It is a great example of how historical events can be distorted in popular memory, where a complex, multifaceted reality is replaced by simple, emotionally charged stories. It highlights the importance of critically evaluating sources and context. Human history isn't just written by the victors, it's rewritten by memory. Let's go deeper. The hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, and amygdala all play a role in memory formation and distortion. When you recall a memory, it reactivates neural circuits, and new information can merge with old data. This process is called reconsolidation, and it's one of the key reasons memories change over time. In one study, participants were shown doctored photos of themselves as children riding a hot air balloon. None of them had done it, but after seeing the image and discussing it, 50% of them believed it happened, and could even describe the event in detail. The brain isn't lying, it's storytelling. This brings us to the big question. Can you ever trust your memory? The answer is, partially. Your memory is good at preserving the gist of things, the feeling, the outline, but it's bad at preserving detail. And over time, those details shift. They mutate. They adapt to what you expect to be true. That's why eyewitness testimony is so unreliable. Why family stories change in the telling, and why you can swear something happened and be totally wrong. If memory is flawed, does that mean we're doomed? Not necessarily. Being aware of how memory works and how it fails is powerful. It makes us more careful witnesses, better historians, more skeptical thinkers. It reminds us that truth isn't just what we remember, it's what we verify, what we examine, what we're willing to question. So next time someone says, "I know what I saw," or "I'll never forget," remember, they might be telling the truth, but their brain might be telling them a story.